Every night, Nora's terror began with the setting sun. She watched the sky darken from her bedroom window, heart pounding as the last light slipped away. For years, sleep had been her enemy. She feared the dark, endless void, the vulnerability, and the sense of losing control. Her family didn't understand, and neither did her doctors. She was left alone with her fear, helpless to fight it. But recently, it had gotten worse. When she did sleep after hours of fighting against the pull of exhaustion, she began to see something. In her dreams, she was always lying in bed, her room exactly as it was in real life. But then, from the shadowed corner, a figure would emerge. Its form was barely visible, just a smudge in the darkness, and yet she could feel its eyes watching her, hear its ragged breath as it crept closer. She would lie there, paralyzed, unable to move or scream, until it reached her bed. One night, after 3 straight days without sleep, she was too exhausted to keep her eyes open. Her vision blurred, and she slipped into that familiar, dreaded darkness. But this time, the dream was different. The figure emerged more quickly, rushing toward her bed with an urgency she'd never seen before. She tried to move, tried to scream, but her body was locked in place. The figure reached her, leaned over her, and whispered in her ear, "You can't avoid me forever." Nora jolted awake, gasping for breath. Her room was silent and still, but something felt wrong. The air was colder, heavier. She glanced toward the corner, her heart hammering. And then she saw it, the figure, standing exactly where it had been in her dream. It wasn't moving, but its eyes, dark and hollow, seemed to lock onto hers. She scrambled out of bed, backing toward the door. Her hand fumbled for the handle, but it wouldn't turn. She was trapped. The figure moved, taking one slow, deliberate step toward her. She could hear its breath now, slow and deliberate, echoing the sound she'd heard night after night in her nightmares. As she pressed herself against the wall, tears streaming down her face, she realized the truth. She hadn't woken up. The dream had followed her, crossing into her waking world. And there would be no escape. When Nora's parents found her the next morning, her bed was empty, her sheets twisted into the shape of a body, and the faint outline of footsteps leading away, into the shadowed corner.